Quiet! I said shut up in there. Now, stop it! Stop it! Bring him to the park for some fresh air and all they do is fight. Okay, so what's it about this time? No answer, huh?
Hello, I didn't see you there. Do you mind if I mean, is it okay if I join you?
No problem. Haven't seen you around here before.
Yeah, I don't usually come to the park on even days. Today's the 14th. I was here on the 11th, and then I missed the 13th, so I came today.
Which means you should be here tomorrow, the 15th. That's the odd day.
Yes, the 15th is an odd day. I mean, I don't mean to say it's an odd in a strange, kind of weird way. It's just the numbers are supposed to even. Yes, I should be here tomorrow, 15th.
And for all we know right now, tomorrow might actually turn out to be an odd day. I mean unusual, even weird, as you would say.
Absolutely. Also maybe complicated in an odd way. You see, I ordered some seeds. Seeds for flowers and ground cover.
You have a big sort of yard? Or?
No. The seeds have been on their way for a month now and may arrive tomorrow. And if they do, I'll have to be home to receive them. I can be here today because today is Sunday. No mail on Sunday, at least where I live.
Right. Tomorrow's Monday, the 15th, but you don't know for sure that your package will arrive, so you're saying you'll have to be home in case it does arrive, that is. So you probably won't be here tomorrow. Well, I won't be here tomorrow either because I'm here only on the even days. So maybe you'll come the next day instead, like you did today. That would be the 16th.
Yes, that's possible. Unless the shipment doesn't come tomorrow. Then I'll have to wait again on the 16th. But I wouldn't be here anyway on the 16th, if you follow me.
Which means you could be here as usual on the 17th.
Absolutely, unless the seeds don't come on the 16th.
Well, I won't be here on the 17th, so maybe we'll meet again on the 18th.
Sure. That's if I decide to come on the 18th, making up for not being here on the 17th. That's if the seeds and ground cover order doesn't get here on the 17th.
Pretty hard to make plans, isn't it? I guess they don't give you any warning or anything about when the order is coming?
No.
Nobody there at home who could accept a package if you're not there? I guess you're not married then?
No, I'm not. You know how it is. When it comes to mail delivery, it's like, que sera, sera. Receive mail at your own risk.
Fact is, you may not be seeing me here on the even days either for a week or two. That is, if you happen to come by on my even days.
Depends on the mail. I know the seeds are going to get here eventually.
Eventually. That could be a long time from now. Eventually covers a lot of territory. Eventually, that could be tomorrow or in a month, 6 months. Could be a year from now, 2 years from now, it could be a lifetime from now.
Well, I don't know about that. My idea of eventually is it should be within a month, maybe a couple of months. I mean, making eventually a whole lifetime of delay, that'd be stretching it.
Yes, possibly. Depends on how you, or how a person happens to read the word eventually. Anyway, they should let you know. They should say, "Dear sir, your seeds will be arriving within a week or a month from now, not eventually."
No, listen. They never actually said the seeds would be arriving eventually. I just happened to use that word, eventually. The company that sends me the seeds every year, as a matter of fact, they haven't said a single word of any kind about arrival time.
I see. I thought you were saying you'd been advised about eventually. Anyway, they do not seem to give a damn either way, do they? This is not rational.
Rational. Now there's a word. What you're saying is that you don't think it's rational that they don't tell me definitely when my seed should be arriving. But you know what? They just answer you by saying it wouldn't be rational of them to promise me a definite day of arrival when the package might not get here on that day. And then I'd be all riled up when it didn't come. That is, for them, the most rational thing would be to tell me that the seeds will be arriving at my place of residence in due course.
In due course. That's as bad as eventually.
All things considered, no. I prefer the formulation in due course. In due course sounds more hopeful and also more polite. Eventually is a cold word. In due course is like as if they slap you on the back and say, "Hey, don't worry, your seeds are going to get here before spring sets in." In due course. Like your electric bill or a letter from an old friend.
Well, you know, I never think much about words. Except swear words. Which I do not like at all.
Nor do I, nor do I. Seems to be an active animal you've got in there.
You could say so. I used to have a seeing-eye dog. Oh, say, I didn't catch your name. My name is Tom. Tom something. No use me telling you my last name because you just forget it. So when you see me, you can just say, "Hello there, Tom," and I'll say, "Hello there." Who?
George.
Okay. I'll say, "Hello, George. How are you doing?" And you'll say?
I'll say I'm doing fine, Tom. Yourself?
Oh, I'll say I'm doing fine too, except for a couple of aches and pains here and there around the old bod.
Better than the alternative, that's what I always say.
That's what I always say too. Well, as I was saying, George, I used to have a seeing-eye dog named Fido.
What did you need a seeing-eye dog for? You're not blind, are you?
I used to be blind. That's why I had Fido.
I see. But that cage wasn't for Fido, was it? I mean, Fido would be leading you around, not sitting you in a cage.
Right again, George. But when he wasn't working, leading me around, Fido liked being in there. He felt protected.
You don't seem... I mean, you don't give the appearance of being blind.
Well, that's because I'm not blind anymore. Well, you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you now, George. Soon as I got my sight back, Fido went blind. A fact. Told you that you weren't going to believe me, but it's true, George. So there I was, leading Fido around. There I was, a seeing-eye man.
Tom, that is so touching.
That's the rub, George. Tom, oh, no, I mean Fido. Fido didn't get to die of old age. He got out alone one day, and of course he couldn't see, and he ran into the road and a big truck ran over him.
Oh, God, that's awful, Tom.
Worse yet, George, I think he committed suicide. He knew damn well there was a road there, even if he couldn't see, and he knew there were lots of trucks on that road, but yet he ran right in front of that truck.
Why would he do that?
Well, I think, you know, I can't be sure, but, oh, I don't know what goes on in a dog's head, but I think he was depressed because he couldn't do his job anymore. He absolutely loved his job.
And he didn't want to be a burden on you.
Do you think so? That makes me sad. I wish you hadn't said that, George.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tom. So, what kind of a dog have you got now, Tom? Or is it a cat in there?
Neither one. As a matter of fact. Quiet! Damn it, I said quiet! As a matter of fact, when my sister and her husband come to visit, they stay in there.
Your sister and brother-in-law are in there? Isn't it a little crowded?
They manage. The trouble is they fight all the time. They make a terrible racket. I mentioned a minute ago that swear words bother me, like what I'm hearing right now, the two of them. One of them, my own sister. The way they swear at each other, it is unbelievable. Shut up in there, stop that. You're embarrassing me in front of my friend. Shh. Between you and me, George, I've had it. I don't think I'll ever invite them back. You know how it is, George.
Yes, I can see that it embarrasses you no end.
George, your carrier over there, I couldn't see inside it. You've got it all curtained off.
Yeah, so do you. Yours is all blocked. I can't see your sister. Not that I would intrude on their privacy, her and your brother-in-law.
Well, I can't have the whole general public hearing all that bad language now, can I? Well, they've quieted down now. They must have heard what I said. Or maybe gone to sleep. Huh. That must be one damn big dog, the way you struggled with that cage.
Yes, it's big.
He doesn't make any fuss, though. Better behaved than my relatives. Or those Trojans of mine.
Trojans?
That'll take some explaining, George. You know, I mentioned before that you might not see me for a couple of weeks if you happen to come by on my even days.
Yes, you did mention that.
Well, that's because I'll be in the process of having the place redecorated. Fact is, I'm expecting a visit from one of my ex-wives and her attorney. Don't know if their relationship right now is of the courtroom or bedroom definition. Of course, I do know they're after my money. Not that I've got much over 10 million, which they don't know about. So don't tell them. Anyway, my money is hidden in a place so small you can't even find it on the map, and nobody's heard of the bank.
You don't, if I can say so, you don't give off any millionaire vibes. You seem like a normal person.
Well, I don't broadcast it. What about you?
I was brought up to never mention how much money you've got.
Or don't got.
Exactly.
Anyway, my wife, my ex-wife, she never visits without somebody with her. For her own protection, she says. You say you're not married, George. Were you ever married before now, I mean?
No, I was only ever engaged.
That's what they say, don't they? Engage, yes, by all means, but run like you're being chased by the devil himself or herself before you buy the ring.
Yes, like the devil himself. I've heard that. Or by an infuriated Italian papa.
Oh, was your fiancé Italian then?
No.
Well, as I was saying, my ex-former wife doesn't appear to trust me. See, one time when one of my other wives came to visit, she disappeared. One day she's asleep, and then she's gone. Nobody knows what happened. Anyway, that's why this particular wife always shows up with a protector.
What do you think happened to her? I mean, the other wife.
Between us, George, my theory is she ran away with a local aristocrat. I know he owned property somewhere in Australia, and I think the two of them are hiding down under, raising kangaroos.
That sounds reasonable.
And you know what else? You're not going to believe what else I'm about to tell you now. No, you're not. Sometimes, when I'm guest-free, which I am going to be for a week or so, history goes on in here. Battles such as happened in days of yore, the smash and clatter and ringing of words, bang, ringing of swords, banging on shields, and the screams and terror of battle. I suppose you don't believe what I'm telling you?
No, I believe you. You did mention Trojans a few minutes ago. I believe everything you're saying. Why do you keep saying I don't?
The Trojan Wars, that's right, George. Nothing less. The Trojan Wars in ancient Greece, all over the favors of a beautiful woman. Helen was her name, of Troy. I know, Troy is a common name, but this Troy was in Greece.
Yeah, I see. Yes, I do see. In fact, I remember all those stories. It's all about the element of time, isn't it?
If time is an element, like you say, then it has to be about time. Time moves backwards and forwards. If it's not the swords, then it's cannon going off, and the thunder of horses' hoofs.
Or is that hooves? Horses.
I knew you wouldn't believe me. But what about you? That's enough about me. Quiet! Quiet, you two! Sometimes you have to listen very attentively, other times not. But come on, George. What about you? Tell me about that big dog of yours.
You mentioned two of your wives, so you were married twice?
Well, it's hard for me to keep count, you know. Actually, I was married 4 times, maybe 5.
Gosh.
But I married the same woman 2 or 3 times, so wife number 1 was also wife number 3, I think, and wife number 2 was also wife number 4, or maybe 3, or 1. They were all blonde ladies, so I get confused.
Yeah, I can imagine. Gosh, I think I envy you.
Do you? Huh. Well, at this point, George, don't be so sure. I mean, how many wives does a man need?
But you only had 2, and then you remarried them, so it might seem to you like you had a lot more than you really did. I guess you're not married again, are you? I mean, right now.
Well, I take your point. No. But tell me, how many times were you engaged? I mean, more than the one time you mentioned?
Oh, did I mention just once? No, Tom. 10 times. That's right, 10. Should have made it 11.
Oh, sure. In keeping with your preference for the odd number.
In spirit as in life, I do my best to be odd. Somebody once said that was funny.
Oh, it is funny. Very funny. Well, you said you envied me, but I envy you, George. Engaged 10 times, and you escaped unscathed every time. That took some doing.
Daring do, they call it. That's right, Tom. It took a lot of daring do. I usually escape by boat, if you can believe me. It's harder for them to catch you if you abscond by boat.
I believe you. Boy, oh boy, abscond. I really love that word. It says it all, George.
Amen. Abscond is what they call a pithy word. Now, pithy sounds a little off color, I know, but it means what it says. Meaty, lots of character. Abscond is a damn pithy word, Tom. I was living on the Mississippi River in those days. As the tide goes out, so do I. That was my motto in the good old days of yore. When the tide comes in, I go out. I'm on my way.
Indeed. Those were the days. And now you're living here. Pretty far from the Mississippi, but maybe that doesn't matter so much anymore. Are you still getting engaged at your age?
My age? What do you mean by that?
You don't mean anything, George. It's just a pleasantry. But if I may say so, you're not some kind of a spring chicken, are you?
Last year, I was engaged just the one time. No, I'm not a spring chicken, nor are you, if I may also say so.
I'm not one to be distressed by insults, George.
And I certainly did not mean to insult you. But listen now. You used the word pleasantry. People often call the word pleasantry one of those unsupported kind of words.
I don't know that I have ever heard of an unsupported word.
Yeah, I understand. I'm speaking of the word pleasantry, as opposed to the word unpleasantry. You see, if you pronounce a pleasantry in a certain way, it could just as well be an unpleasantry.
Okay, George, I submit to your wealth of vocabulary, but I assure you I did not mean my use of the word pleasantry to sound like an unpleasantry. Anyway, George, I think that's about enough with unsupported words. What I want to know is, how did you escape this last engagement of yours? You know, the story of your engagements and disengagements really fascinates a man like me who's been married so many times I can't count them, and only because he didn't have the simple good judgment or planning skill to disengage in good time, like you did.
I moved.
That makes sense.
I would have had to move anyway, so I killed two birds with one move.
Two birds? How so?
Well, see, I hope you're going to believe this part of the story, Tom.
Every word.
Well, see, I wasn't going to mention it, Tom, but I don't have a dog.
You don't have a dog?
Mm.
So, there must be something meaningful there in that thing, the way you lug it around.
There's something in there, all right.
Not your sister, is it? Some kind of event going on in there, then? Some kind of a war? Of the past or of the future? A rock concert?
It'd be simpler if it was a rock concert.
So tell me straight out, George.
Whatever it is, it's big and black, like a big black cloud, with feet or paws. Must weigh 100 pounds.
Big and black with tentacles? And you don't know what it is? Unbelievable!
Feet, I said, or paws, not tentacles. Of course it's unbelievable, but I'm telling you, Tom, also believable.
Huh. Animal, vegetable, or mineral?
Animal.
You say a big black animal, then, of some variety, and not a dog.
By no means a dog.
A giant chipmunk? Maybe a feral rat?
Bigger. And it can talk.
Talk? You're not making this up, George. What does it say?
It doesn't say so much as it does grunt.
Grunt.
Yes, grunts, single words. It's big and black. And that's all I know. Sometimes it threatens me. Sometimes it gets so impatient and nasty I have to let it out. Then it comes and sits on my shoulder. Says nasty words, swear words, too.
Well then, it's a parrot, George. Parrots sit on their master's shoulder. And it talks to you? Parrots talk. It must be some breed of parrot, George.
Parrots do not threaten.
But they often say nasty things and curse like the pirates who taught them all the words.
Shh. Easy, Tom. Sotto voce, if you please. I was telling you that I moved.
Yes, you moved in order to escape your most recent engagement last year.
No. The engagement was last year. This year, when I escaped. But I told you I killed 2 somethings by moving, remember?
Yes, I think I do.
Well, you see that what I'm about to tell you was the other reason for moving. My apartment was on the 27th floor.
Hey, there's your odd number again. A big place, was it?
Pretty big. 3 bedrooms, all en suite. Large kitchen with modern appliances. Beautiful living room. Large terrace with a wall-to-wall view of downtown and the river. Accoutrement perfect. All decorated in neo-Tuscan style. Even a wine cellar downstairs. Choice place.
Oh, you're a wine connoisseur, are you?
No.
I won't ask if you rented or owned.
It was very convenient for entertaining. That was one of the selling points. This luxurious property is designed especially for high-class entertaining.
So you did? A lot? Oh, you're the entertaining type, I can see that. The scarf and all.
If you mean I tell a lot of jokes, I don't. I used to do some guest speaking, though.
A Toastmaster. Now, there's a gift of the silver tongue, isn't that what they say? I should have known you with all those words. Your own dictionary of the mind.
I was just telling you that I moved to avoid my engagement party, and because of...
Because of?
Yes, canceling my engagement. And there I go. One day I'm living on the 27th floor, the next I am unlocatable. No forwarding address. I'm living in the basement. Yes, in a relatively luxurious property. Well laid out, comfortable of course, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, half bath in the foyer, early American kitchen with a lazy Susan on the breakfast table. Not only that, but I'm safe otherwise as well.
I see.
Well, I wouldn't fall victim to an accident, if you see what I mean.
I do.
It had suddenly occurred to me that had I not changed residences, I might have fallen out of one of the many large windows in my 27th floor apartment. It said that it's a lot harder to hurt yourself if you fall out of a basement window than if you fall 27 floors.
Much harder to fall up than it is to fall down. So that's how you got out of engagement number 11.
That is correct, if you can believe it.
I can. I truly can believe it, George. However, I have a question. Namely, why have you got an order in for ground cover along with the seeds? Why would you need ground cover if you're living in a basement flat? Is there a large garden to the rear of your place?
Yes, there is.
Nice.
It's all bricked. I mean, there is no grass or weeds, all bricks.
Well, that's handy, I'll say that for it.
So you'll ask, why the ground cover? Unless maybe you plan to cover the bricks with grass, in which case you'd have to buy a lawnmower, which only adds another problem to your list of problems when you've already got problems enough. Food, Tom. Chemically treated nourishment, good for plant and bug alike. The bugs die for it. You see what I mean?
I think I get your drift. Your friend spends a lot of time out in the fresh air.
Yes, so it does.
Oh, the fresh air must make it hungry.
Ravenous.
My sister and her husband subsist largely on pizzas. I order in.
Biff doesn't like pizza. Nor do I, as a matter of fact.
Biff?
Well, I had to give him a name. And having a name seems to make him more gentle, friendly, if you will. Oh, what's your sister's name, by the way?
I'm glad you asked. Her name is Lily. And he's Bogdan.
Bogdan and Lily. There's a nice ring to it.
Oh, I don't like Bogdan as a name. It has no charm to it, no rhythm. Lily, on the other
I
hand...
like Bogdan, on the other hand. It's a name with virility and forcefulness. It's a take charge kind of name.
Well, George, in my opinion, it demeans my family of hardy alien stock. Once alien, now, of course, widely accepted. Bogdan is an ugly kind of name. It's the kind of name I would have given Biff. Yes, him, it.
I differ with you there, Tom. As the name goes, Biff fits my friend very neatly. Lily, by the way, why not pansy or violet or nasturtium?
I have never come across a flower called nasturtium. Is it something you ordered with your seeds and ground cover that never seemed to arrive?
No need to be sarcastic. Maybe it's just that I'm not pronouncing nasturtium correctly.
I can be a stickler on pronunciation, George, but that is no reason to take offense. I can be persuaded. What does this nasturtium look like when it blooms?
It has large green leaves, and the flower is red as blood. In the middle of each bloom, there's an inviting tendril or pistil or something like that, which attracts large bugs, which it then closes around, and I assume masticates.
A meat-eating plant, then?
No, protein-eating.
Oh, I see. The bugs being basically protein.
As bugs are, yes. At this point, Biff eats the whole flower, greenery and protein all at once. It appears to suit him. He doesn't lose any weight.
His fighting weight, sure. Getting his nourishment, which is soon to be supplemented by a big bag of ground cover.
Exactly.
We agree on that assumption, don't we?
Yes. But let's not forget, your sister's name, Lily, with one L or two L's?
One L.
I know of Lily of the Valley. Is Lily of the Valley a flower or an individual, Tom? Would you know?
Both, I think. Lily, the individual, very much admired this particular sort of flower, which had not yet been named. So it became Lily's favorite flower, and since Lily lived in the valley, the natives decided the flower would henceforth be known as a lily, which grew up in a valley, and in due course, a lily of the valley.
That makes good sense. But you used my phrase, in due course, the phrase you criticized just a few minutes ago.
In context, George. I used it in context.
Just as I used it in context.
Not according to my interpretation, if I may say so, George.
Everybody has their own interpretation of the passing parade, Tom.
But George, not everybody is a Toastmaster either, with a silver tongue. And that is my opinion, for whatever you may think it's not worth, George.
I think I will take advantage of this seeming impasse to excuse myself for a moment.
Where are you going? Are you leaving?
No.
Don't forget Biff.
I'll be back in a moment. It's a very nice afternoon, isn't it?
Late afternoon, George. It's getting dark. Just gets up like that and walks away. Leaves Biff here, unprotected. For all he knows, I could steal Biff right out of that cage. He's afraid of Biff. Well, I'm not. What? Do I hear a grunt? What? What? I don't understand. You'll have to speak more clearly. What does he want?
It is getting dark, isn't it? I mean, this time of season, it's dark most of the day. Or maybe I should call it night.
Call it whatever you want. It's just getting dark. What should I do? Maybe open his cage and then open mine and see if he wants to run in there and join Lily and Bogdan. There's room. And anyway, Lily will be gone in a couple of days, and then Biff has the place to himself. Should I? Biff, he's grunting at me like he'd like me to free him. Free him. But what then? I'd have Biff all to myself all the time. What would the others say? The Trojans, they might kill him. Maybe that wouldn't be so bad either. If he started to threaten me like he does George. Well, hell, who knows what had happened? Who knows anything about anything? Maybe... Oh.
I'm back.
Saved by the bell. Where were you?
I was just over there by that tree.
I thought for a minute you'd left Biff behind. And what am I going to do then?
I came back. I didn't leave Biff.
Well, I thought you had left him, Biff. And what was I supposed to do? I couldn't carry both of those enclosures. So am I supposed to get Biff into my enclosure along with Lily and her husband and carry them all back with me?
Where do you live, by the way?
A short walk from here. That would be a short walk if I'm carrying just the one enclosure and not yours too. Also, by the way, where is this Luke's apartment of yours? The basement one, I mean.
Not far from here, as the crow flies.
It would be stupid of me to point out that you are not a crow, George, and you as a human do not fly either. Is your flat within walking distance? I think that's what I'm asking.
Yes.
As I said, I was afraid for a moment that you had just nonchalantly walked away, leaving Biff to me. I don't know him, you know, I don't know him, so I was not altogether comfortable with that prospect after what you had just finished telling me or hinting about his proclivities.
Shh, 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 shh. Sotto voce, Tom, sotto voce. He heard that, proclivities. Did you hear him grunt?
No, I did not.
Well, perhaps your hearing is not attuned to Biff's wavelength. Easy, Biff, easy. Tom was not talking about you. He was talking about his brother-in-law, Bogdan.
I was not talking about Bogdan.
Tom, please, a little forbearance, if you please.
I cannot sit here in all good conscience and baby your occupant, George, or treat him like a psychopathic 3-year-old. Certainly not. When I have such grown-up and manly events happening as the Trojan War, in which hundreds and thousands of mature beings are slaughtered over and over again.
To be frank, Tom, it seems to me like Lily and her husband should be war enough for you.
I think, George, that is a rather superfluous and also superficial assumption for you to make, if I may say so.
You may say so, and I will heartily disagree with you, Tom. When I was engaged behind that tree, I happened to notice another park bench, 50 yards or so to the left of this spot. Perhaps the next time you come here with Lily and Bogdan, perhaps you'd like to sit there and not here.
By the way, George, just what were you up to behind that tree?
I was concealing myself, Tom, because it had just occurred to me that someone was about to take a picture of us. You know the story about the person who was not in the picture and yet he was in the picture all the same, hidden behind the tree? I wish to be the unrecorded presence when the picture was taken.
I do not think any picture was taken, George, then or at any time since we've been sitting here.
Nevertheless, the second park bench is an option, Tom.
There are options, and there are options. George, as you well know, all beside the point.
Ah, beside the point. A fascinating arrangement of everyday words.
Beside the point, George, for one simple reason, which is that as long as you keep to your odd days, if your order of seeds and ground cover ever arrives, and I come here on even days, we have no conflict as regards this particular bench.
And also, Tom, consider that if we keep to our odd and even schedules religiously...
Religion has nothing to do with it. This is merely a matter of keeping the schedule.
I understand that. What I intend to say is that if we obey our odd and even schedule, we will never see each other again.
Such things do happen, George.
Tom, really? I think this chance meeting of ours has a little more significance than that. I'm referring to the universal order of things, Tom. Incidents and coincidence.
The significance is in its very insignificance, George. Thus, since we have never seen each other before today, and that our meeting today was only because of an accident of scheduling...
Yes. Thus you are saying, what does it matter if we never see each other again, since we never saw each other previously?
Roughly that, yes.
A very pragmatic
and rational
statement of sad but realistic circumstances similar to the facts of life.
Yes.
And if I ever do, by accident or intent, happen to come to the park on an even day, perhaps we will see each other again. What then, Tom?
I will say, hello again, George. How are you keeping? And you will say...
I'll say, hey, Tom, long time no see. What's cooking? And you will say?
I will say, not much, George. How's it going with Biff?
And I'll say, well, Tom, Biff...
Yes, Biff what?
I'll reply, I wish you hadn't mentioned Biff, George. I'm so sad I can't talk about Biff, and please don't ask.
I understand. I won't ask.
And if I happen to come on an even day, I'd like to sit on this bench, if you don't mind.
Fine with me, unless I'm here first, in which case you can sit on that other bench that you mentioned.
Or vice versa.
Yes.
Sensible.
Yes. It's really getting to get dark. I guess you'll want to be leaving.
Not particularly. I don't mind the dark. But if you want to leave...
No.
Actually, I quite like the darkness.
So do I. So do I. Soon it'll be so dark you won't see the bumps on the sidewalk.
The sidewalk, Tom? The sidewalk would be cement. This is more of a dusty, rustic track or path.
I wonder why they never paved it. It's a public garden.
So it is. So it is. Maybe you should take advantage of the last light to get Lily and Bogdan safely home.
No. I used to be blind, don't forget. It was always dark for me in those days.
I don't know about you, but I can hardly see my hand in front of my face.
Well, I can sense my hand in front of my face, just like in my old dark days when Fido was still with me.
I can hardly see you now, Tom. It's that dark. And you, as close as you are, just on the other end of the bench.
Nor I you. But I should point out that you wouldn't see me at all if you were sitting on that other bench which you mentioned.
Precisely, Tom, and you wouldn't see me either. You would not know that a person named George was anyone near you in this park.
And in turn, George, you would not know that I was ever here, if I may say so.
Yes, of course you may say so, Tom. It would be as if neither of us had ever existed. I mean, as far as the other of us was concerned. If you want to leave, Tom, in fact, if we just sit here quietly in the darkness, you can get up at any time and go. I won't even know you're gone. And you won't know that I'm still here. Or not.